Hello? Is everyone here? Okay. Welcome to the West Coast premiere of Sunset Beauregard, a short film by Andrew Lewis. But more importantly, welcome to the Sunset Beauregard 3 Show, brought to you by Hot Dog City and hosted by me, Kathy, Sentient Void, and Budget MC. Over the next 10 minutes I'll provide you with a program of music, trivia, and a lingering sense of dread that will prime you for the main attraction like nobody's business. But first, some fun facts about the film, Sunset Beauregard. Andrew Lewis first attempted to write the film in 2014 on a cross-country train from Los Angeles to Boston, Massachusetts. He failed to write much of anything, but he did succeed in meeting a first-degree murderer, a suicidal ballerina, and the inventor of modern air traffic control. And when not avoiding writing Sunset Beauregard or listening to possibly fabricated life stories, he filmed Super 8 footage of the trip across this mediocre country of ours that eventually became the basis for our first attraction of the evening. A music video for the worldwide smash hit Arcadia by Chillwave superstars Audios. Fun fact, Audios' frontman, Jesse Johnstone, mixed and mastered Sunset Beauregard and has been seen in the vicinity of this theater. If you can find him after the show and solve his riddles free, he will let you listen to Audios' blockbuster new album, Digigummy, for free on Spotify. Okay. Here comes the music video. Do you feel it? Oh. In these troubling economic times, paying money for things can be, at best, kind of annoying. So we have graciously decided to partner with a corporate sponsor to keep admissions completely free. After all, no one should be making a profit off of independent film. Or so the saying goes. And now, a word from our sponsor, Hot Dog City. Oh.
What the hell have you been saying? That I'm a hot dog wrapped in bacon. Well, if that's so, I guess I'll go to Hot Dog City.
Hot Dog City, located on the historic intersection of Knobscott and Neighborton Street off Route 53 in Hanover, right across the street from the evacuation center. And don't forget to say hello to our employee of the month, Timmy. It's Hot Dog City, everything you need to get the job done right the first time.
Hot Dog City.
Well anyway, here's some more fun trivia about Sunset Beauregard. Sunset Beauregard stars Juliet Losnex and Joshua Morrison, both of whom may be here among us. So be cool. If you can find Joshua Morrison after the show, make sure to wish him a happy belated birthday, and ask him about the play he is acting in next week at the Broadwater. Early reviews claim that it's the best production of any play in the history of the medium. Anyway, due to Sunset Beauregard's high levels of pretentiousness and male brooding, only one film festival had the moral fortitude and vision to include it in their program. The Americana Film Festival. Located deep in the heartland of Barcelona, Spain, where Sunset Beauregard was received with a 10-minute standing ovation before and after the film. Wow, how I love movie trivia. It's a good thing too, because up next are some classic star facts that are so true you won't believe it. Oh.
Ever wonder what the real reason is behind your favorite classic stars of the silver and small screens? Real Stars Weekly's got you covered. Lucille Ball, classic funny girl and star of TV's I Love Lucy, was born on August 11, 1911, in Jamestown, New York, to James Durrell Ball, an anaconda specialist, and Jamie Desiree Ball. Jamie, a classic funny girl in her own right, would often spend nights sitting on the fire escape of their tenement building, and do funny voices at the sky. The neighbors would often hear this and think that some funny radio show was playing through an opened apartment window. One such neighbor was Donald Remington Duck, an unfortunately named professional ballroom dancer, who would listen to Jamie's nightly vocal performances through his bathroom window, driving himself mad, running back and forth from the bathroom to the living room, fruitlessly trying to tune into the same performance on his state-of-the-art radio receiver. Mr. Duck was tortured with jealousy, believing the neighbor somehow owned a newer, more advanced radio receiver with better reception and more hilarious programming. For many months, Donald Duck was a man obsessed. He stopped yelling at his children, and rarely even had time anymore to make his wife cry. All he could do after getting home from his shift at the ballroom was lock himself in the bathroom and glue his ear to the porthole window above the toilet, listening joylessly to the hilarious programming that he knew he would never hear on his own, inferior radio. For her part, Jamie, a shy funny girl, assumed her nightly performances on the fire escape were private. For her and Jesus Christ alone. By the 5th month, Donald rarely left the bathroom. His wife and children had long since moved out. His job at the ballroom was given to a younger, sexier boy, named Peter Wolf. Donald Duck had had enough. On the evening of April 1, 1932, Donald lies slack upon the bathroom floor, waiting for the accursed radio program to emanate once again from that hated porthole window. At 8:05 p.m., right on schedule, the familiar vocal overtures begin, and Donald storms out of his apartment, tumbling upstairs and down, shuffling past every door in the building, his ears scanning for that terrible, hilarious voice. He stops at apartment number 52. Donald knocks on the door with a single, terrifyingly hollow thud. He hears the muffled radio show cease from within. Inside the apartment, Jamie Ball steps out from the fire escape and closes the window, clearing her throat as she crosses the hallway, her daughter Lucille trailing behind her. Curious, with a touch of apprehension, Jamie slowly opens the door and gasps. Donald Remington Duck, her once sexy ballroom dancing neighbor who was on her short list for a possible steamy affair, stands before her, pale, unshaven, shaking with malnutrition and hatred. His eyes ghastly white globes of fury and misery. He threatens her with a knife, and asks about the funny voices, and something about her radio. Jamie, too bashful and humble to take credit for her own hilarious performances, and also a coward, points to her own confused and frightened daughter, explaining that little Lucille Ball would sit on the fire escape and practice funny jokes and routines. Donald stares at Lucille, his eyes and knife flashing in unison. Slowly, a crazed smile forms upon Donald Duck's death mask of a face. The knife clatters to the floor. Donald breaks into joyous, innocent laughter. He picks the 21-year-old Lucille up, and hugs her a little too tightly. Lucy looks to her mother with something between mild concern and absolute panic. This would be Lucille Ball's star-making performance. Donald Duck would go on to be Lucille's agent, manager and sometimes lover for 60 years. Jamie's talents would go undiscovered until long after her miserable, hideous death in 1972, plummeting from the very fire escape where she inadvertently began her daughter's career as a much-loved and celebrated funny girl of the classic TV era. Want to hear more real stories of your favorite classic stars? Subscribe to Real Stars Weekly, and let us know what classic stars you want to hear the real truth about.
And now, our feature presentation, Sunset Beauregard. But wait, my sources tell me that Andrew Lewis has just now completed a bonus music video for Audio's other smash hit song, Azusa. My sources also tell me that this is a world premiere. Okay, but after this, Sunset Beauregard, I promise. Oh. And now, at long last, our feature presentation, Sunset Beauregard. For real, this time. Good night, and good luck. This is Kathy, signing off. Oh.
If you're watching this, Sunset Beauregard is no more. Here lies the unhappy man, torn from the cold, steady morphine drip of employment. His mind is flooded with a long-repressed, terrible fury. Immediately following his suspension from the Daisuke Institute, Stanislav issues a scathing response, unleashing a torrent of gnashing denials and crazed, spittle-flecked rebuttals, his words sputtering aimlessly into the air, utterly ignored, drowning like tiny, frenzied rodents in a sea of terrible noise. Indeed, Stanislav has never been so annoyed. His outrage plunges into a cavernous dread. He can sense that the bad man is here. Dearth is always here. Good morning, Moj, mumbles Dearth, inaccurately. Safely within the confines of his bedroom, Stanislav continues his scathing response, blaming his suspension from the Daisuke Institute on the maddening influence of Dearth's terrible noise, his troubling secrecy, and his brazen, provocative falsehoods. Stanislav quietly assures himself that it is not morning, and his name is not Moj. Moj spends the rest of the morning hard at work, blaming Dearth's dark, brooding presence for all his recent setbacks. And then he remembers. The flashing Slavic eyes, just like Mother's. Thanks, Inga. Mother's name. Moj spends the rest of the morning hard at work, blaming Mother's sudden, unexplained departure for all his recent setbacks. It goes on this way for many days, until Moj finally wears himself out. Sometime after midnight, Moj can sense that Dearth has left the apartment to shuffle wildly down random boulevards with vague menace. Or so Moj imagines as he scurries out to borrow Dearth's computer. While looking at interesting pictures on the computer, Moj remembers another interesting picture. But Inga is gone, abandoning him, just like Mother. Moj dares to venture out again, in pursuit of further pleasures. This time, a special treat, a forgotten relic of Mother's brief reign. Something to make the shameful, joyless process a little more flavorful. It was the weirdest rice he ever had. Inspired by Dearth's continued absence, Moj leaves the apartment for the first time. No word from the Daisuke Institute in over a week. Moj stares into the void of his own imminent demise, lost in a sea of terrible noise. Dear little mouse, come. Out of your mouse hole. I need to be entertained. Inga. P.S. Wear a suit and tie. But the little mouse is tricked. Dearth has returned, with Inga wasting no time in defecting to his side, just like Mother. The little mouse would laugh at the predictability of it all, if laughter was an option. The scene begins in the usual way. Dearth relates his funny story about drinking antifreeze at the beach. As before, the way it's told makes it unclear whether he actually drank antifreeze. In an interesting twist, the little mouse joins in the telling, hoping to impress Mother. Suddenly, a dark turn. Inexplicable, unwanted tickling. Flashing Slavic eyes watch hungrily as a tendency towards violent overreaction reveals itself. The little mouse grasping desperately to prevent his grotesque and shameful laugh from destroying his life, like it did his childhood. Too late, the little mouse laughs. And as the last vestiges of his humanity are cackled out, an unknown third party looks on, disapprovingly. Now they all know. The little mouse has his own terrible noise. Here lies the pale, lifeless husk, purged of its very identity by a profound humiliation. Though utterly drained of all human feeling, the husk refuses to fade quietly into the night. No, the husk will stubbornly carry on, merely despite those who think they have won. Outside the bedroom door, enemy laughter is heard, but not from inside, for the husk will never laugh again. The husk rolls around in bed for many days, chased from sleep by violent memories it no longer recognized, and haunted in waking life by angry specters from a past life long forgotten. Existence becomes a series of baffling, disconnected scenes. Suddenly, another cruel phantom materializes, asking, "Where is the dog?" It is more accusation than question. How long will the husk be kept from peaceful rest, haunted by the living? Suddenly, inexplicably, the beach. Besides dearth, nothing is familiar to the beachgoer. The beachgoer was supposed to remember something about this, but it is forgotten. The scene begins in the usual way. Dearth relates his funny story about drinking antifreeze at the beach. As before, the way it's told makes it unclear whether he actually drank antifreeze. In an interesting twist, the beachgoer joins in the telling. All at once, the beachgoer remembers everything and blames Dearth for all of it in a scathing response. The beachgoer has never felt so alive, but he allows himself to get carried away, revealing too much, and possibly incriminating himself. Hand me the boogie board, I'm going in. These would turn out to be Dearth's final words to the beachgoer. A lone, vaguely menacing figure shuffling wildly down random boulevards, desperately lost, searching, grasping for the familiar. Out of desperation, a primal, reptilian logic is employed, relying on pure, dumb instinct, a blind, intuitive staggering toward some unremembered point of origin, toward the familiar. The void of imminent birth beckons solemnly. If you're watching this, Sunset Beauregard is no more.